What is going on, Cowboy? Today we've got a new NFT project. We've got the developer, the artist, the founder behind it. His name is Ethan, and it's called Mechachaotic. And we need to figure out, hey, look, the bull run is pumping right now. Everyone's making money, and we need to find out, is this project worth our time and our money into, or is he just some scammer, fly by night, not worth it, whatever. It's for you to decide whether or not you like this project, you like the mind behind this, and then for you to pull the trigger and get into it. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aaron. I'm on a journey to my next Bitcoin while helping you to your next Bitcoin. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just a lizard brain, gorilla armed, diamond handed cowboy exploring the wild west of cryptocurrency with a whole bunch of other cowboys. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you. You're invited. Hit the subscribe button down below. Head into the saloon. That's the Telegram channel where we're always talking about the latest and greatest NFT projects, gaming, blockchain, new gems. Basically, it's super worth your while. In my opinion, it's the number one thing you could do for yourself that is completely free, is to get around trusted group of investors, okay? And you can take their opinions. Some are good, some you don't agree with, and that's how you do it with it. Because a lot of times we're doing it in a silo, and we're talking to these YouTubers or we're listening to these YouTube videos. I'm like you. I got into this space watching these YouTube videos and just being ignorant about it, not thinking that they had like some kind of incentive to talk up these projects, which they do. So here's how the game works. These projects go to these YouTubers and they pay them to basically promote their project. But the YouTubers, a lot of times, they don't tell us about it. And so we're buying into this project and they could either one, dump on us, or two, not think that this is any worthwhile at all. So I came up with this interview system, the AMA system, where we get to talk to the minds behind the artists, the founders behind these projects, and you get to decide, not me, right? I'm just having the conversation here. This is your best source of information, of doing your own research. And today we have Mechachaotic, okay? His name is Ethan. He's the artist. He's the founder, the mind behind it. And we're going to shake him down, grill him, flip him around, stir the pot, and see what comes out of him. And so if you're here today watching the video or listening to the podcast, we just want to really thank you for watching. And we have Ethan in the hot seat right now. Ethan, what's going on, man? Glad to have you.
Hey, what's going on, man? Happy to be here. Happy to be grilled.
Let's do it, man. I'm happy that you're looking forward to it. First of all, before we get into any kind of talking about Mechachaotic, I want to know about you. Who were you coming into crypto? What is your background? What's your expertise, your experience coming into crypto?
So for the past 10 years, I've been a freelance illustrator, just kind of doing my own thing. I started out drawing pretty much whatever I could get out of college, and then that slowly evolved into drawing like Dungeons and Dragons characters for people and drawing indie comic books. I love storytelling, so comics have always been a part of my life. And a few years ago, I started drawing I kind of had this epiphany, and I started drawing these mechanical monster creatures, and I just kind of got obsessed with it. And I've just been drawing them pretty much nonstop in all my free time for the past 4 years. And then I got hired onto the Vogu Collective, which was an NFT that came out in July, at the end of July. And it went really well. The background that I drew for them went really well, and people were really interested. So I put up one of my drawings that I had done, and people seemed interested. So that's what started Mechachaotic. Was I put some up, and people started getting them, and the rest is history, I suppose.
Awesome. So you've been drawing your whole life basically, and then I guess you moved into graphic design. Is that fair, or
illustration? Graphic design is different.
Okay.
Graphic design is more on like the marketing side of things. The more
graphical illustrations is probably like, I'm finding a hard term finding the term for this, but you're basically drawing characters for what look like D&D comic, Dungeons and Dragons and different comics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How long have you been drawing here?
So I've been drawing all my life.
Okay.
I kind of started out just by like, I always had like these ideas that I wanted to get out of my head, and most of the time it was like building stuff and like, building with Legos or building with whatever I could get my hands on. And like, so drawing was kind of a way to be like, I want to make this thing. How do I show somebody else before I can actually do it?
So it was like a way to process your thoughts and place it onto to convey it to someone else on paper.
Exactly. And then I always viewed it as like a thing that like it's like, oh, I don't have that talent because it doesn't come so easily to me. So I did it for fun, and then I got into college and I met a friend, and he was doing stuff that was way beyond me, and then that's when it kind of clicked to me that it was more like it's just hard work. Like anybody can do it. It's just a lot of hard work, and that's when my journey began. Of like, I'm actually going to go like hard on this, and I'm going to get as good as I can and break into the industry because it's just a matter of hard work, and it's what I've always wanted to do. So
Yeah. So people have hired you on. What's the biggest project you've worked on then? Is that the Voden Collective?
the Vogu Collective, yeah, that's probably the biggest project that I've worked on for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So
I also I did a piece for the Sevens, which was another project. I'd say given their within their time frame, they were the biggest projects for their time. So they're like tied.
are those NFTs? Are those NFT projects?
Yeah, those are NFTs. Yep.
What's the most expensive that those things ran for?
At one point the floor for my background for Vogu was 10 Ethereum, I believe.
What?
Yeah, it was wild.
Oh my god. My heart. Wow. Okay, so and that's the most expensive your projects have run for about 10 ETH.
I don't know what the top sale was. I don't remember off the top of my head. But that was the floor at one point for those backgrounds.
Gotcha.
So that was the lowest that those backgrounds were going
Jeez
for.
Louise.
It's not that way right now, but that's what it was back then.
Sure. Well, I mean, NFTs are in a trend, right? They're
Right,
very
exactly.
trendy.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell me about Mechachaotic. You said you had these machine creatures like in your brain, and you just kept on drawing them. And again, it matched what you wanted to convey your thoughts and what's in your brain here out into the world. So tell me a little bit about that. How'd you start doing it? What's your inspiration for this? Where do you see this going?
So yeah, I started off with. I find it very difficult to separate like getting my ideas out of my head onto paper and what actually happens. And for a long time, I had this anxiety of like, oh god, I'm doing it wrong. It's not looking right. It's not what I wanted. And I was having this conversation with some of my illustration friends in like a Google Hangout back in the day, about 4 years ago. And one of my friends was like, "Well, sorry, I have cars and I don't want to." But anyway, so one of my friends was like, you have this anxiety, and I wonder what you would draw if you didn't know what the end result was going to be when you started. And so I was like, that's an interesting idea. So that conversation happened at like 4 o'clock in the morning, as the best conversations do. So I went to bed, woke up the next day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. I was like, my warm up, let's see where this goes. Maybe it'll help. And so I just got out a piece of paper. I got a marker because if I don't know where it's going, or I don't want to direct it anywhere, why not just not erase? That just makes sense. So I took a marker and I just started drawing, and it turns out that I make these mechanical mutant-looking things. I have the very first one up on my Instagram somewhere from 2018, 2017, something like that.
So
And,
you have like an idea in your brain then, and then you put it to paper, and then you start going, and then it evolves as time goes on, or as wherever you go on the paper.
Well, that's the craziest part, is that the fun part about this process is that I don't have an idea. I just put down a shape and like I build a thing, and then I build a thing next to it, a thing next to it, a thing next to it, until it turns into a something.
Yeah.
And like, so as far as Mechachaotic goes, the way that came about was that I used to do this Twitch live stream back before the NFT days, where people watch me, they gain points, they can redeem those points for parts off of a menu, and then as soon as they redeem that part, I have to include it into the creation that I'm making.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I just took that and I moved it to Discord for when I started making Mechachaotic, and that's how every single Mechachaotic piece is made, through a collaborative experience with my community.
Oh, that's actually really interesting. So you're saying you started doing this back in the day where you had people just live with you, and you would draw live, and they would spend money, donate something, and then they incorporate something, and you'd incorporate that suggestion or whatever into your art, and then you just had it. That was your show. And now when you
Correct.
move to NFTs, you're able to sell it.
Exactly. And like, so before we went on hiatus to work on Bedlam, um, I was doing a live stream on Monday, and then I would release that on that Friday, so people could interact and then actually buy that NFT on that Friday.
Got it. I've got some of your work here that I want to pull up. And so it's on OpenSea, so anyone can kind of just go on and check it out. But here's some of it. Here's Mechachaotic. Be sure to get if there's any fake ones out there, just to let you know. And so, yeah, here's what we're talking about. Some of the uh, mechanical creature looking things. And so you're saying like every single one of these, there was like an aspect of it that someone bought and then they incorporated into it, correct?
Correct. Yep. Like you
Okay,
can
so
see on that Kin of Naloesh there, the green one, all those tentacles.
yeah.
People love the tentacles. They love to buy tentacles, and that was one of the more recent ones. And people just bought a bunch of tentacles, all those horns, a lot of those teeth were bought because I have like fangs and tusks and things like that
So
on the
so if I
menu too.
posted something like this, right? Heart of Rugua. So how do you come up with a name?
So we have a lore, a whole narrative that's going along with this. That one of my co-founders, Mike, is just amazing at coming up with this narrative that we have going on. And so what we do is we figure out where these pieces fit into the lore, and then we come up with a name that fits that aspect of the lore.
Okay.
And part of it is like my role on our Discord is the Profane Oracle, because I always say that like I don't really know what we're making, right? And it's kind of like me and the community we're like channeling this dark energy to like see what comes out of it, and we're kind of just like interpreting it,
Yeah.
right? And so after I create it, that's when we add it to the narrative and see how it fits in, and it's kind of like we're having this like prescient vision of like what's happening elsewhere.
What is that word? I'm a lizard brain, so help me with that big
So
word.
prescient is seeing in advance
Okay. Okay.
of
Is
what's
that
to
different from
come.
precedent?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm a lizard brain, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know
God,
precedent.
I got a kindergarten vocabulary, so
Hey, I usually stick to that, but sometimes these words just come out and I don't know where they come
it
from.
just comes out to. So this is very interesting. So yeah, like you said, it's a very dark theme, looking thing. Now I looked at some other stuff, and you got some ducks on here too. What's happening
Yeah.
there?
So those are based on a drawing that I did, but they're actually drawn by a good friend of mine, Walter Osley, who is like a co-artist now for our project. And the way that those came about was really I was trying to figure out how to categorize all these drawings that I had, and the platypus came up. We call them Roys, and so my friend was like, "Oh, we're gonna put those in there," and they are creations of this within narrative, this interdimensional, well-renowned artist, very reclusive artist called Glam, spelled GL-4M,
Okay.
and we aren't privy to what these things do exactly, other than they wander around, and we found out that the acronym, the reason they're called ROYs, is because they are reconstituted organisms yearning sentience. So they only have enough understanding to know that they want to think, but they can't actually think. So they're just kind of like these mascots that just kind of wander around and just mindlessly do things. And they're actually a way that we can kind of give back to our holders. We give them away. You can't buy them. So we give them
Interesting.
away to people that already own our NFTs.
Cool. Okay, so it's like a little incentive, like for the community.
Yep.
I see you got some hologram or some like moving ones too. Okay, so this is good. This is cool. So it's a platypus, not a duck. Okay, gotcha.
Indeed.
Now, you seem to have a big track record here, a lot going on. But I'm more interested in where your future is. This channel is meant for a lot of investing, right? And
Right.
so I want to know where you're going in the future. So help me to what's there to be excited about Mechachaotic? What you got going? What you got cooking up?
So in the near future, we have this generative project that's not like any other generative project that I've seen, which is why I made it. And we call that Mechachaotic Bedlam.
What is a generative project?
So a generative project is like you might have heard it as a 10K or a PFP, a profile picture project, like a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk or Cool Cat, Deadfellas, like all these.
If I talk to me like I'm a fifth grader,
Okay.
don't no like PFP. Talk to me like I'm a third grader, right? Like
Perfect.
what is a what are we doing here?
All right. So are you familiar with paper dolls that you might have seen in a kid where it's like you might have gotten in a coloring book where it's like a cutout of a person and then it would come with like different clothes that are different like stickers or maybe it's other pieces
Yes,
of paper.
I'm familiar with the concept, right? You cut something out and you could switch, you could put clothes on it and stuff like that. Got it. Yeah.
Now imagine that in like a digital sense.
Okay.
So you have in the sake of, or for Bored Apes, right? Bored Apes, you have this ape, and then you could put like, some of them have a hat on them, some of them have, glasses,
Correct.
whatever.
So like you said, like CryptoPunks, each CryptoPunk looks the same,
Mm-hmm.
but one has a mohawk, one has a green mohawk, and one has
Exactly.
sunglasses and chain. Okay, got it.
And so what happens is we create those digitally, and then we create a program that randomizes those attributes to generate 10,000 is like the normal thing, which is why sometimes they're called the 10K project. So we create
Got it.
10,000
Okay.
of these pieces out of, maybe 150, 200 different traits.
Is that how it's normally done?
That's how it's normally done, correct?
Okay, so I didn't know that. I really did. So there's a whole bunch of traits.
Mm-hmm.
You put it into like this program. It spits out 10,000 of them, all of them unique, but
Correct.
some kind of and it makes a collection and it makes it a swap out in and out of all of it. Okay, I didn't know that's how it worked, but okay, there you go.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think that they're like all hand drawn or whatever, and the pieces are hand drawn, but then they're shuffled together.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, there you go. So how is yours different?
So ours is different for a lot of reasons because I like to build things and I like to collaborate with people. So I wanted to combine those things and do something that the generative community, because there's a whole community, there's tons of these projects that they've never seen before. So we took away the base model. There's no base model, and we made the process of minting interactive, so you have some degree of influence over your mint.
That obviously is taking your experience into that.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So I have some examples that I can show you if I just
Please
bring these up here. So this is an example of one of our pieces, and you can see my obsession with this detail and like all these mechanical
I could
bits.
see all the way down into like the chest area and like the face, obviously. So yeah, for sure.
And then here's another one. So you can see that it's like kind of similar, but almost totally different.
Yeah, flip back and then flip forward. Let me see the. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I see it. Yeah, for sure.
And so, not only that, but also you're going to. A lot of times, the PFP, the profile picture that you get, is kind of like a mix match of different colors and different. Because they're just different traits that are just randomized and then put together, and with no real consideration for the color mixture. But
Okay.
what we're going to have is the entire thing is color homogenized.
Okay.
So if you have, when I get into how the minting goes, this will come back up. But just remember that we have different color schemes going on,
Okay.
different color themes.
Sure.
And so I'm just going to really quickly go through a couple of the others. And these are only generated with a few of our pieces, like a few of our traits put together. And these are our most basic traits that
Sure.
you can have. So we have one of these.
Okay. I could see these in like an anime or something.
Yeah. I mean, totally an influence of mine for sure. Like who is an artist right now that isn't influenced a little bit by anime?
For sure.
And so they get like crazier and crazier. But
wow. Now the mouth is open up like a demigorgon or whatever.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun like trying to think of like all different ways of how to manipulate the system and make it like crazier and crazier.
So are you saying like that mouth right there, that open mouth thing? that's its own piece. Like, tell me how someone like me can influence something like that.
All right. So the way that you influence it is by when you mint your token, what you're actually going to mint. Here, I actually have a flowchart here for you because
Okay.
it could be a little bit. I think
Look
once you
at
get it down,
this.
it's simple.
Simple for
But
me. This is so
yeah.
simple. Arrow pointing to this. Like, this is great. Lizard brains, guys. Lizard brains.
So first you mint, and then what you mint is a Bedlam fragment token. This is
Okay.
this is a placeholder artwork. This is not the final artwork that you'll be getting. And what's going to happen is in that fragment, in that token, there's going to be properties called symbols of power. You're going to get between 6 and 10 of them, but for now we'll say 6. And so you get 6 symbols of power, and those symbols of power are what you're going to use to influence your final project or your
Okay.
final mint, your final profile picture. And then you're going to be able to trade that fragment. So if you want we have 5 different symbols of power. We have Apex, Beast, Chaos, Corrupted, and Domination.
Okay.
And let's say that, or Dominance, sorry, Dominance. And so let's say that you got Beast, but you really want Dominance. So you're going to go and look for a fragment that has more Dominance, and you can go and pick that up. Or maybe you're going to find somebody who has a lot of Dominance, but wants Beast. So you can trade with your friend for their token.
And each one of those control like an aspect
Yep.
to, okay.
So
Like
we'll get
dominance.
there.
Like, I don't understand what the difference between dominance and beast is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure. So we'll skip back to here, and so this is an example of a dominance piece. So it's more robotic, has this more blue tones, whereas Beast is this one. So it's more animalistic, more instinctual, more feral.
okay, that makes
looking.
sense. Gotcha. So if I want something, so I'm not into the animalistic stuff. I don't want a beast one. I want dominance. I want the mech looking stuff.
Yeah. Then you can go out and try and get it
Yeah, got
during
it.
this
Okay.
trading phase. So then, after you traded, we're going to give you a window of time, a few days to trade.
Mhm.
And then, once the trading is done, you're going to go to our website and you're going to have an inventory. All of your mints are going to come together in a pool of symbols of power. So it won't look like this, but this is just to kind of represent the inventory that you might
Now
see.
you've got, where would I trade? Like, how do I trade?
So you would trade on OpenSea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So all of those fragment tokens will show up on OpenSea, and you'll be able to trade them. And then, so you're going to go to our website, and you'll see the symbols of power there. And once you see all the numbers that you have, you're going to be able to go to a summoning circle that's going to look kind of like this, and you're going to be able to place 5 of them into the summoning circle in these orange locations.
Mm-hmm.
And your arrangement of symbols of power is going to determine the influence of your final artwork that you get back. So if you filled all of these with dominance, like in our earlier example, you will get something that is much more weighted towards dominance than if you put all beast or all apex.
Makes sense. And the program in itself will like determine, okay, it's got 3 parts dominance, 1 part beast, 1 part apex.
Exactly.
I'm going to weigh heavier on dominance with a few aspects of this, but no aspects of the other 2.
It's
pieces.
not no aspects. It's just it's going to be weighted more heavily towards the ones that you put in the arrangement.
Got it. It's like cooking. You're like cooking here.
Exactly.
So I've got hot stuff, sweet stuff, and sour stuff, and I don't want any sour stuff in this. I get it. This is really cool. It's you kind of like gamify it. You kind of like, hey, now I'm creating with the ingredients that you're giving me here, these 5 different ingredients, and I've traded with, on OpenSea for them, and now I've got them. Is there any other project that does anything similar like this?
I haven't seen them if they are out there.
This is very unique. This is very unique. And you guys, if you're watching so far, if you're like me, I like unique stuff, especially in the NFT space. There's so many like copycats and all that kind of stuff. And you, in a million copycats, you have no idea what can pop, right? And I'm just coming at this from an investor point of view, right? But things that are unique, especially with 1, taking into account of like, hey, being involved in the creation and the art of it, and 2, then putting it all together to be involved in the creation of art. I think That's something I've never seen. So that's very interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I came into the space not because of the money, but because of the opportunities for creativity. Right? It's
Interesting.
like I want to create an experience for people that like my art. Right? I
Now
want
you're co-creating with people now too.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and I love that.
I came into this space out of curiosity. Like, what can blockchain do
Yeah,
for people to bring people together? Like, what can it do? And so, I mean, you using blockchain and that technology and art and your own experience to bring it into this. I mean, this is like the height of why I came into crypto myself, is like to learn like what the heck people are doing out here.
that gave me all the warm and fuzzies.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth.
I appreciate that. So yeah, you kind of beat me to the next step, which is you lock in your symbols of power, and then that data goes to our generator,
Yeah.
and then you will get a revealed piece. Well,
Amazing.
there'll be a portion of time where you can't see what you've gotten because we need to update the fragment token with like a the summoning image, and then after a few days, we will have the finished artwork uploaded into a decentralized network and locked in the
Here,
metadata.
here's what I'm seeing. I mean, like this is obviously still early, and it's not fair for me to even say this because you already put it on there, not the final art form. But in my opinion, you're gonna need some like amazing website or whatever, like to because the creation of the experience of the creation in itself is like what we're paying for, what we're including ourselves into, because that ourselves is like what we want. But then if we sell it on the market as secondhand, like again, the people don't get that experience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's to me it's like you kind of lose something on the back end, but on the front end it's like you're entering into the experience. But even still, if people like the collection, it stands on its own as an own piece of art. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's totally fair to say.
Yeah.
And it's not that you aren't going to have any experience; it's just that you're going to miss out on the summoning experience,
Sure.
right? But something that we have announced already is that we have a game that's going to be interacting with all of our NFTs, and you're going to be able to use the game to upgrade your NFTs. But the game will be coming out around the end of the year or sooner. I can't really give too many details about the game other than to say right now our what we'll be releasing first is going to be like our first building block of the game, which will be kind of like an auto battler. So there will be some decision making, but it'll be a lot of automated of building a team, and then it automatically basically fights these. It'll be it'll be a single player game is what I'm trying to say. And you kind of build a team and then go into these different fights, and it'll give you the opportunity to affect
So
your
okay,
NFTs.
so yeah, let's talk a little bit about this. So it's a single player game. Will
Mm-hmm.
it be multiplayer?
Someday we hope to make it multiplayer. That's the goal. The ultimate goal is
What's
to make it multiplayer.
and the point of the game? Can we play to earn on it?
There's no play to earn, but there is play to affect your NFT, which could increase the value for it.
What is the NFT changing into?
I can't
How
really go
does
into
it?
details about that because we haven't revealed that yet to the public.
Oh, give me a
But
little bit. What is it? Do you add extra horns or a background or something?
we've played around with the idea of if you the first to reach X thing gets like their so like an X point in the game. So like we're planning on having like a leveling system. I think I can say that. Well,
Okay.
now I can. And so we're gonna have a leveling system, and like the first to the max level gets their NFT, but like gets a new version of artwork for it or something like that.
Like a hollow background or something, or like
Or maybe you get like battle scars or something like
oh,
that.
cool. Or maybe like that. You know how that you had that spinning circle behind like
Yeah,
something like that. Okay, that to me that sounds amazing, right? Because I just started learning that you could people are releasing NFTs that can be upgraded, right? This is
mm-hmm.
especially important for gaming, but especially you said you're releasing a game. To me, a game needs to be like addictive and great, and needs to be some kind of ability to like earn toward like a goal to earn towards. And if you could add like some kind of shine or whatever, that increases the value, in my opinion, to sell on the open sea, and people, it just increases the value for people who value the art.
Totally. And like, so I've always said that like my ultimate goal is just make sure that I'm generating value for my collectors, because I love creating this stuff for them. I love interacting with them, and I just want to keep doing it. And like, that's the way to go about it.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. And so you said the game is coming out the end of this year or next year?
This year.
Oh, wow. That's faster than I thought. Okay, great.
Yeah. We've been working on it for a little while.
Is it on a web application or on the mobile, or how's it?
It won't be. I can't say for certain because I'm not leading up the game. I have another co-founder of mine who is leading up the game for me, and okay. I'm fairly certain that it's going to be an app that you download, I don't know if it'll be on mobile right away, because we're releasing this in stages. So that's why I'm uncertain on like which part of the stage is going to be on what thing. Because if I were to keep track,
it seems like you're hiding stuff. Like you've got stuff in your brain, you just can't talk freely about it. It seems like you're trying to keep it for your community and all that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah, I'm trying my best not to put a foot in my mouth with, like, we have so many things going on. It's like, all right, what am I allowed to say? I need to remember.
Yeah. So the next biggest thing that's going on is this regenerative Bedlam project where people are putting it together and putting. So when is that going to be fully realized?
So you'll be able to mint at the end of November. We don't have an exact date for you yet because of the market is kind of in flux, and we want to make sure that we're landing at the best time for everybody involved.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really concerned with like, I mean, I shouldn't be concerned, right? But the whole experience of putting it together, I want to see like me throwing a shard into a pot or in a circle and like kind of like Pokemon,
No, totally. And like, I want to make that experience for you. And I think that we have a cool experience planned out.
Cool. What's the next biggest thing then after that? Because that's the end of November and you got the game in December. So is that pretty much rounding out the year?
That'll mostly be rounding out the year. However, I will be also continuing to do my live streams with collaboration with the community, and we'll be releasing those NFTs on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on what the landscape looks like post Bedlam. Because anything could happen, after Bedlam launches, and we want to stay fluid, stay agile, to make sure that we are doing what we want to do and what our collectors are going to benefit most from.
Gotcha. Okay, so I got a few technical questions here. First one, how big is your team? What are you working with here?
So I have over a dozen people working for me, or with me, and we have our Solidity devs, so contract writers. We have our game dev team. I have a lore team with editor, and I also have a community team. I have 2 people working with me for that. And we're always expanding because of, our project's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we need to bring on more and more people.
How big is your community?
Our community right now on Discord, as of right now, it's about 1,300 people.
Awesome. How are you trying to grow that community?
So we're doing all the things that like normal projects do, things like outreach through Twitter and like contests and things like that. But the one thing that we do that's unique that I think is really fun, and everybody in the project thinks that is really fun, that people seem to think is fun. They tell me it's fun, and they show up. So what we do is we find other collections that we really like, and we go to their Discord, we go in their voice channel, and I stream drawing a derivative of their art.
Oh, that is cool. That's super cool.
And we call that raiding. It's a Discord raid.
I got a funny story about like what community just raiding on. So I run a bunch of live AMAs at just lives on YouTube. Awesome. And so like this particular coin, like 100 people came into this to my live stream, and I'm usually running at about 50 people. Dang. So it like tripled it, right? And so everyone was pressuring me to buy this coin, and I freaked out, and so then I bought the coin. So everyone's like, "Yeah." And then they made me a meme. There, I was like, I was
That's
like, "What is
awesome.
happening?" And but the cool thing is, I was now bought in to that community, and a lot of my people were bought into the, like, I mean, they must have pulled over. I mean, not pulled over, but like won over maybe like half of my people on that live. And so I think that's, I mean, I've experienced something like that, and it's awesome. So good on you for doing something like thinking creatively, and that doesn't cost any money. You know what I mean? Like just costs organization and passion and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and one thing I like that is you're just constantly drawing and adapting. A true artist can just like kind of take inspiration and just throw it down and like, hey, you guys like this, and then kind of work with it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. Let me
Thank you.
ask you something. To me, artists are a little bit eclectic. Okay, so what about you is like one of the weirdest things or eclectic things about you? I'm looking at your beard. I've went back and forth on whether I should ask you. You've probably been asked a million times. So, like, what is the weirdest thing about you? And then tell me a little bit about your beard.
All right. So because you're asking about the beard, I'm going to stay away from that as the weirdest part. And I'm going to direct you to behind me. Do we see this altar that I have?
Okay.
So I had some artwork that I was going into like a gallery show, and because I thought it would be fun, I got a bunch of friends together, and I like having like fake bones around. This isn't real. This is a resin cast, and just for reference, to like for the ideas for these creatures, and so I have just a bunch of bones lying around. So I was like, why don't I make like a mecha altar and like put computer parts in it and stuff? And so I got my friends together, and like the show was on Friday, and I got them together on like a Tuesday, and I was like, all right, we're gonna go to Goodwill, and we're gonna get a small table, and we're gonna make some kind of crazy altar on it. Who's in? And I had like half a dozen of my friends in my studio. Like we were like melting wax and like lighting candles and like just building this thing all together, and like that was probably one of the most fun experiences that I've had.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's a weird thing, I think.
Gotcha. Cool. I'm feeling it, and it's for inspiration too. So it's a utility wise. So tell me about the beard. What's it's half white, half brown.
So I a few years ago I was working on a project, super busy, tight deadlines. Didn't shave for a while, and then all of a sudden I'm brushing my teeth one day, and I'm like, is my beard like half white? What is that? I gotta grow this in to find out. And sure enough, it grew in half white.
That's natural.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's wild, right?
That's pretty cool.
Now I can't shave.
That's pretty cool. That's so cool. Oh
Thank
man,
you.
I thought you were trying to like that lady with the Dalmatians. You know, like,
Cruella, yeah. No. This is just it just grows in this way. I don't know
awesome.
the story with it.
I appreciate keeping it natural, and especially if it's something unique. That's really cool. All right, so let's get back to the projects here. Have we covered everything that Mechachaotic is up to? Like, is there nothing else on the table, like in your belly, like something that you're excited about in the future that you could get other future investors, people who are on the fence, excited about as well?
I think the only thing that I forgot to mention is only something that I forgot to mention earlier, which is, and we kind of talked about the generation process of a 10K project, of a generative project, but I would be remiss to not go over the awesome work that my co-artist and the coder of our generator has put into our generator to make it a very unique generator, which is we have programmed into it a way for if you look at a lot of generative art, the shadows are kind of they aren't there. Like the artwork is very flat looking, and that's because of the limitations of just stacking files, right? Stacking digital images. But what we did is we created a way to make those shadows all uniform and fit together and not overlap and cause weird shadows to happen. On top of having a generator that can create things without like a base model, and also we also have a thing in it that allows us to do glows. Like normally glows would kind of mess everything up, but within our generator we can do that. So we can have artwork that a lot of people when they see it, they're like, "That's generated? I don't believe you." And
Yeah.
we have to like show them like
It's the
several.
difference. It's the difference between. So I've got a designer I've worked with. I have a media company and a marketing company separately. I create my thumbnails or pictures. It's on PowerPoint. I have the picture, and I take a clip art and I put it right on top if I want a hat of the person. And you're
Nice,
saying that is how most generative projects operate. It's like a little picture with
right?
he's got a cowboy hat on. Now swap it out, and there's that. And then he is like a professional designer who like shades things in, adds glow, and that's what you're talking about here. It's the difference between clip art and like Illustrator. Like it's you shading
Yes,
and you're blending and you're doing all this kind of advanced things, color correcting, grading, all that stuff. Versus me, cut paste, pop, 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 right? That's about what you're saying.
exactly.
So it's the technology and the development and the sophistication between your generative I guess program here.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
And also, not only that, but it also takes in those symbols of power that we talked about earlier and spits
Sure,
out
sure. Well,
the
that's
correct
awesome
thing.
too. Like bringing in the whole element of user, experience and and getting them involved in that. So I appreciate that, guys. If you're watching this video all the way through, we really want to. I just want to thank you so much for giving me this the time. Look, check out the description below for all the links if you haven't already. You can check them out on OpenSea, join the Discord, whatever, and get involved. See if this is something for you. If something that you like, if you appreciate the artwork, if you appreciate where it's going, especially with being able to use it in a game and stuff like that. But I think to me, for this type of project, it's something that's intrinsic. Like you are able to, put your small stamp into this project. And there's a lot of hard work, and especially join his live streams or whatever, and just be involved in the community. I think that's where the real true value is here. And then after that, yeah, now you've got an awesome NFT. But check it out for yourself. I'm not. I mean, I don't know what NFTs. Maybe I'd like to see if I can get one, and we could see if we could work something, especially with a cowboy. I'd want to do that, like a cowboy hat or something. But guys, check it out for yourself. Do your own research. Get into things that are basic, like unique things that, especially NFTs, right? Everything's blowing up, guys. Don't overthink things. Lizard brains, gorilla arms, diamond hands. We're going to the moon, guys. Cowboys ride together. And if you're about this project, check out the links in the description below. Thanks, guys, so much for coming. Ethan, thanks for being in the hot seat. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
Guys, I just wrapped up the video, but I had to get back on here. Ethan has an amazing opportunity for the Cowboys of Crypto, exclusive opportunity to whitelist. Ethan, do you mind if you explain a little bit of what's going on here?
So we figured, your community is going to want to get in on this project, and we want to make sure that you can get in on it. So we are going to give the first 50 people to come into our Discord a whitelist position, which means that you are going to be guaranteed at least one mint in our Bedlam mint.
Amazing. Amazing. So you guys heard it here. The first 50 people that come in and say like, hey, I'm a cowboy, and you're rolling in, you're going to get 100% whitelisted. And I'm going to put the description in the comment section below. We'll put the links out and stuff like that, in the description phase. Ethan, thank you so much. Very, very generous. Cowboys, if you're about this, let's ride. Anyway, we'll see you guys later.